Me too.
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 I'm DJ Burr. This is my Me Too story. I am a survivor, and I'm a person who likes to tell my story because I think it's helpful, and I know it's helpful because people have let me know. And I think that we need more men to come forward and tell that story. I was 16 when I was molested. And as a result of that molestation and subsequent abuse by older men, I started to use sex as a means to take care of myself and make me feel better. But the truth was, I was dying inside. It was my dad's best friend, lived across the street, known him my whole life. And, he approached me one day, it was 4th of July weekend, and came across the street, and he asked me to kiss him. And it was really shocking to me because I had just come out of the closet as being gay. I remember going into the house and starting to cry because I was ashamed. I felt guilty, like I had done something wrong. But, he was 45, I was 16. I didn't do anything wrong. Being comfortable with someone because you've known them for a long time, I think our defenses are down. Right, and so he probably was asking, probing questions and assessing whether or not he could approach me in that way. He's a predator. I'm in high school at the time, and I changed schools, and he actually followed me to my new school. And he would call me and say, "Oh, I like what you're wearing today." And I'm like, what are you talking about, right? I'm like 30 minutes away from where you live, and he was stalking me. But, for a child who had never really experienced what true love was, and true love and nurturance, I thought that was the best thing ever. He missed me, he wanted me, but I didn't know that he was abusing me. I was 30 years old, actually 29, just about turned 30, and I'm sitting in a room, a 12-step room for sex addicts. And I heard someone else's story. And what they said resonated with me, and I realized that I was 16 and he was 45. You don't have a relationship with a 45-year-old at 16. All the defenses just kind of cracked, and I remember I just kind of crumbled right there in the room. I was already in therapy, and my therapist had encouraged me to go to the sexual addiction recovery meetings, and so to have this on top of it, I was just pissed. It was like I got one more thing to address. And I was confused and I was angry and I didn't know who to tell. I had told friends in the past about it, but now it's like, I should tell my mom, my dad, somebody about what happened to me. And so it took a while, but I finally started telling. And, with disclosing the secret, there was a lot of healing that came after. The number one thing that people, friends or families of survivors can do is to listen without judgment. If I'm coming to you to tell my story, I'm not necessarily looking for you to say me too, or I'm not looking for you to fix it, or to tell me to go call the cops or take me to a hospital. I'm really just asking you to listen because I'm struggling internally with whether or not I'm crazy or not, because so many things are happening. My body is feeling so many different things at that time when I'm telling my story, especially when I told it the first time. It was like an out-of-body experience at some point. It's like, am I really telling this? Is this true? Right? I didn't even know what my own reality was. And so it was helpful to have people listen and reflect back what they heard me say for me to get clarity. And I got that from my sponsor, my therapist, close friends in recovery, and that was helpful. But none of them tried to fix it for me. I've told my story so many times now, I've lost count, and every time I am done telling my story, I feel even more empowered to do more.